entirely successful, and it was all about that, really. You know, it's like the end of the line. You know, that's what the song was about. Fortunately, I'm a very happy man now.
Well, that's a good thing, and we've all had some speed bumps along the road of life at one time or another. Now, how long were you working on this album?
About 2 years, really. Working Class Blues Man was 2016, and then I just needed to take time out and write what I felt were quality songs, because I don't believe in rush releasing any products. I think the only time you should release a product or an album is when you've got something new to say, and when you've been inspired by different events in life to create new music, or in my case, new blues. So End of the Line is the product of many different life experiences on one album, and it also shows a resurgence of me doing acoustic blues instrumentals that are sort of combined with Spanish guitar as well. I mean, there's blues at sunrise and blues at twilight that sort of combine classical Spanish and blues.
And we're going to play both of those, because I think that when I was listening to them, I really felt the transition, the difference from the twilight, or rather, I should say, from the sunrise to the twilight. And I got to thinking, because both of the songs are relatively short by today's standards, so it really fit that we could do a little niche and play both of them back to back. So we're going to be getting to that in just a few minutes. Now, you just had the British release of this, about a week or so ago?
Yeah, I mean, basically, originally it was due to come out April the 1st, and then my team informed me that the way things were moving, that it would be most likely out round about March the 1st or in the first week of March. So that's when I sort of changed on social networking, informing people it's going to be out a month earlier. So very soon it will be on cdbaby.com, Amazon and iTunes. So End of the Line, Ritchie Dave Porter will be on Amazon, CD Baby and Apple Music, iTunes. There'll be hard copy CDs available, which I know they're available because I've received them. They're in a box. I just haven't sent any out yet.
Yeah, that's usually a pretty good indicator, right? And for the listeners out there who aren't downloads. For listeners out there who aren't familiar with Ritchie, and oftentimes we get artists that people are just now discovering. If you go to search out Ritchie Dave Porter, the first name is spelt with a T. It's not the typical American Ritchie. It's Ritchie, and then Dave Porter, which is pretty easy to pick up on. But you can check him out online. As he said, the album's going to be available shortly all over the place, and I know you're going to want a copy. So, Ritchie, we talked about moments ago blues at sunrise, blues at twilight, and you're having created this album and these songs from your life experiences, which is, well, it's pretty much the way it goes with blues, with music in the key of blues. But tell us about these two songs, Blues at Sunrise, Blues at Twilight, and the contrast between the two. And then we're going to play them both back to back so the audience, the listeners, can get a good feel for them. Yeah,
as I say, nearly everything is written about my life experiences. With Blues at Sunrise and Blues at Twilight, those are two, in my opinion, two of the songs or instrumentals that I've written that I'm probably the proudest of, because they don't really relate to any work experience or relationship breakdown or anything like that. They were actually written in my head to be like movie soundtracks. That's how I saw it in my head. It's like Blues at Sunrise. I was kind of thinking of like the Wild West and like a Clint Eastwood spaghetti western. And that was like the vision in my head for that one. So when you hear a lot of the Spanish guitar, it made me think about walking through a desert. The gunfight's just about to begin, then the gunfight's over. And that was sort of Blues at Sunrise. And then with Blues at Twilight, it's sort of like the aftermath. So these were these funny little ideas that came into my head, where I was thinking, like a spaghetti western type thing. And if you listen to the two songs, you can almost hopefully hear that, it'll create an image in the mind of like a spaghetti western type thing. Blues man meets spaghetti western, really. So that's blues at sunrise going into blues at twilight.
Interesting concept there.
An album. Yeah, and no one else is really combining blues guitar with Spanish guitar either. It's like it's something I've always loved because I've liked playing blues. I love playing blues first and foremost, and I do love the sound of classical and Spanish guitar. But interestingly, recently I was given preview to a Blues in Britain magazine review, which will be out I think April or May, and they picked up on it, and they really got into the whole instrumental thing, and that's something I want to continue as well. I don't know, maybe one day, David, I'll do like a movie soundtrack or something.
There you go.
I'd love to do a film soundtrack.
You never know, and that would be really neat. And it's really I like the idea of marrying the different styles because it's an interesting combination, and you do it so well. And I got a little out of order here. I had another track I was going to play first, but since I did lead into these, and we're going to listen to them, we'll listen to them right now since we've been talking about them, and we'll come back for long hours in a little bit. But right now, here we go. We're going to play Sunrise and Twilight back to back for our listeners. Here it is. First up, Ritchie Dave Porter and Blues at Sunrise. And there you go. Back-to-back Blues at Sunrise, followed by Blues at Twilight. And for the listeners who are having trouble differentiating where one ended and the other began, I'll tell you that the first one, Blues at Sunrise, was the first 1 minute and 20 seconds. The last 2 minutes and 46 seconds were Blues at Twilight. Ritchie, fantastic. I got the feeling just as you described it, and I was even able to get through it without having that mysterious whistler in the background. But it did.
Yeah.
It made me wanted to get my boots and hat and Colt 45 out and just get into period with it. It's you succeeded. A great melding, merging of the sounds, and it was exactly as you described it. It could very easily be the theme music to a spaghetti western or something of that nature. Excellent. Really enjoyed it. What do you think, John Bon Jovial? How was your opinion of that?
Oh, I tell you what, I've never, Ritchie, it's never occurred to me to blend an acoustic blues type of sound with a Spanish, kind of sound. And
absolutely,
I tell you what, I'm listening to this thing really in just rapt fascination. It is, I can't think of anything bad to say about it. This is really, really good.
That's a good. Yeah, I mean, it's the blues.
Yeah, I mean, if David will tell you,
blues, but
I can be one of the most critical people you've ever heard, and that is really, it's the blues to a spaghetti western. Exactly. Yep. It was really good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. You accomplished exactly what you set out to accomplish, Ritchie. Good job. Now, tell us about this next track. We're going to back up now to the song that I originally had as the next one, but we get into the Blues at Sunrise and Twilight first. Let's go back and tell us a little bit about Long Hours, if you will.
Yeah, 12 long hours. That's about. I have a day job because I'm an indie artist. I mean, I'm a popular independent blues artist, but most independent blues artists, we have to do either part-time or full-time work as well to fund our own labels. And regardless of, I mean, when I've done really well, David, I've had something like, I think there's 7 or 8 top 10 independent chart hits, and I've had one number one in Australia. You know, I've had quite a few in the USA that aren't my number ones, but they're in the top 10, and I can't moan, but 12 long hours is all about getting up at 6:15 in the morning, walking 45, 50 minutes, sometimes in the snow and the ice, to do a 12-hour psychiatric shift, because I'm a trained team leader therapist in forensic mental health and all that. And it's about literally just wanting to get the hell home and play my guitar.
I hear you.
I mean, I get about 3-4 days off a week, but all I want to do is just get those 12 hours out of the way and just get home and play guitar. So 12 long hours is literally about, the frustration of having to do a 12-hour shift and then just clock watching, really. I want to get home. I want to play my acoustic. I want to play the blues. I want to rehearse a live set. And that's how my life is.
I understand that, and I can relate. My first job back in Rome, New York, when I got in radio, I used to have to walk about a half an hour to get to work, and it was all types of weather. I was up like 5 o'clock in the morning, walking through the snow down to the radio station. So I can relate to that, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is from his latest album, End of the Line. This is Ritchie Dave Porter in 12 Long Hours.
It was early in the morning, and I've got to get to work. It was early in the morning, and I got to get to work. I no longer have a woman, so at work I hurt. It is 12 long hours, babe, till I'm home to my guitar.